Act 1, Scene 2 at the office.
Mr. Sadanand, I have a problem.
ओह, दिलखुश, बैठो बैठो, क्या प्रॉब्लम है दिखाओ जरा मुझे। हाँ हाँ, कोई बात नहीं, सब ठीक हो जाएगा, हम मिलके सॉल्व करेंगे यार, ऐसी भी क्या बात है, चलो चलते हैं।
Act 2, Scene 1 at home.
अरे यार, आज तो फिर लेट हो गया। अरे सुनो, तुम कहाँ हो? मेरा टिफिन कहाँ है? मुझे ऑफिस के लिए देर हो रही है।
मुझसे कुछ मत पूछो, बड़ी प्रॉब्लम हो गई है। आज काम वाली बाई नहीं आई है और मैं अकेले इतना सब कुछ नहीं कर सकती। तो जो कल का बचा हुआ खाना था वही मैं पैक करके दे रही हूँ, आप वही ले जाइए।
चलो ठीक है, मुझे देर हो रही है, मैं जा रहा हूँ।
Act 2, Scene 2. Act 2, Scene 2 in the office.
पता नहीं क्या दिन है। अरे दिलखुश, तुम कभी खुश रह सकते हो? जब देखो प्रॉब्लम लेके चले आते हो। प्रॉब्लम ही प्रॉब्लम है। अब मैं सुबह से कितनी प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करूं? अभी तुम जाओ प्लीज, मुझसे नहीं होगा, थोड़े टाइम बाद आना। लाइफ ही प्रॉब्लम है, पता नहीं इतनी प्रॉब्लम्स कहाँ से आती हैं।
Okay, good evening, everybody. Good evening. And a good applause to our lovely actors. Very interesting. What did we learn from that? Same person can react in two different ways.
The same energy will carry throughout the day.
The same energy will carry out throughout the day.
Not every day is same.
Not every day is the same.
You can't take it out.
Not every day is same. Sorry?
Start of the day is what matters.
The start of the day is what matters. Okay, good.
Your attitude defines how your day goes.
Your attitude will define how your day goes. Your attitude defines your altitude.
Sometimes people react out of their own situation.
Yes.
It is not in our control.
So some people act out of their own
Not
situations,
in our control.
which may not be in our control. Okay, but our situations? Okay. I can't control that situation. People will control the way the situation is, which is fair enough. I don't have that control. But there's one thing I have 100% control. That is my situations. So if you notice, scene 1, act 1, that was on the first day, you have the husband and wife. Wife is very nice, giving, what is the breakfast? Halwa and puri, right? Fresh, garam, halwa and puri. So husband's very happy. Nice day now for him. The whole day now he goes to the office. The colleague has a problem. Don't worry, there's no problem, Dilkush. We are here to solve problems. That's okay, fair enough, right? Why? Because he's full of energy, no? In the morning, everything was nice. So what do we say? His energy is nice and high, and so he's able to carry that high energy in the office. Office, whatever the energy is, it's not getting affected because he's got nice high energy, and so he's able to give his beautiful energy. Day 2, what's for breakfast? All the leftovers, right? All whatever is there from yesterday is going to be given back to you. So he starts the next day. It need not be the breakfast, but anything at all that happens in the morning. So his source of energy was how his morning would go. And now second day, his source of energy, where he would usually get good boost, he didn't get that. And so he's already depleted before he gets himself into the office. So when his energy is already down, already depleted, and now he goes into the office, and there he's trying to be the leader, he's trying to help people, he's trying to help solve problems. And then somebody comes a problem, because he's already low energy, he's not able to give positive energy. And so he gets sucked into whatever energy is available in the environment. Right? And so he's getting a little angry now, gets irritated, gets frustrated very quickly. You know, his fuse is very low now. So, what can we do? Because these are situations, every day is different for us. Not every person is going to have the same energy. You're not going to have garam garam halwa puri every morning. Even if you get garam garam halwa puri, the moods of the people serving it would be different every day, which is perfectly fine, right? Everybody has their own right to be the way they would like to be. But then who am I, the master? Who am I? I'm the emperor. Who am I? I'm the one who wants to determine my attitude. I want to be able to see how I can stay full of energy. Because if a leader has to give and guide, and if a leader has to make a difference to people, so somebody meets me and somebody leaves after they're meeting me, are they better or are they worse? As a true good leader, as an inner leader, I want to make sure that everybody who has an interaction with me leaves much better off than they were before they met me, which is very much in my control in terms of how I can at least behave with them. So for me to do that, I have a huge responsibility. Yeah? Because I got a lot of power, right? As a leader, you can make a big difference to everyone who you meet. So you got massive power. But with that you also have solid responsibility. So what's my responsibility? My responsibility is to myself only. That is to stay high in terms of my energy. I'm going to have that massive space that I can create inside of good, positive, powerful energy, so that that's what I can give outside, right? You can only give what you have. If you are not having anything, then you cannot give. Then you're actually going to ask, can I have this from you? You may not ask it very openly, but in a very subtle way. Are you a person who's asking and taking, or are you a person who's full and giving? You would usually ask if you're empty. So the question is, what's my source? So I can stay full and I can give, rather than I become empty and I only ask. And when you're asking, then you succumb to environments. Environment is good. Wow, I've asked, I got good. Environment is bad, I'm also bad. And so we don't want to be in that space. So we have something which is, okay, we have this here. Thank you. Okay. We call this the Whostic Connection. And there's no spelling mistake there. We wanted to call it WHOL, holistic. We've got a lot of good connections in this world. One is, we are connected as beings in this particular body. I am the spiritual being, we say, who's got all these beautiful qualities. We just saw in the morning. We go inside, we understand the self. And that's a very important connection, connecting with yourself, with your true self. So if you're not connecting with your true self, you'll be connected with this acquired self. The self which is temporary, which I've got from the world outside. So the idea is to see how I can be connected to my true self. I am peaceful, loveful, happy, pure, strong, loving. That's the real being I am, versus the titles, the background, the age, the gender, the physical appearance and all that stuff. That is acquired, temporary for some time. So my first connection is with the real self. So if I have that first connection with the self, what next? If I really want to be... Oh, sorry, is that blocking you? Thank you. So then there's another important connection that I have to forge. And what is that connection? What else are the other important connections? The eternal one. Connection with family. What else? connection with God. Okay. So it's important to be connected with everybody. So connecting with yourself so that you are able to draw and be at a space of peace, love, happiness, and purity. And then you connect with this lovely energy of the family, your people, and the work colleagues, so you can be there to give. You're there to support, sustain, and help them grow and guide. That's the connection you need to have. But that has to be to give. That's why we say unconditional love is just to give. And so tomorrow, if you are happy or not, I will still give you. If you come and appreciate me or not, I still will give you. Whether you change or not, I'll give you. How many times have we gone and given something and then stopped because that person hasn't changed? You say, well, I've done so much, I've given so much, but the person's not changed at all. I was told that when you are good to people, they will also become good to you. And so I'm trying to be good to this person, but he's still not changed. And so I stop. That's conditional. So it's giving unconditionally, which is important for us. And so we give that energy in that connections that we come in on a daily basis. The biggest problem happens is if I start giving and I start also getting from the same connection. So I've come to give in this connection, not to take. But if I start taking from this connection, then my giving becomes goes up and down, like what we saw in the skit, right? He was getting from his family in the morning. That was the source of energy. And so if that becomes a source, that is great, he's great. If that is not there, then he's not there. So the question is, what is the source, the anchor, where I know, I'm guaranteed, I'm sure that this person's mood will not change every day. That this person is full and abundant, is an ocean, and I'm going to be guaranteed that every time I go to this person, the person will be full. And the person is just going to give. And is not going to see who I am, where I am from, in what method I go and meet this person. But this person is just there, available 100% and always available. You don't have to stand in long queues for this person. This person will not say, I'm too busy now, come later. I'm engaged. Can you come a little later on? Is there anyone like that? Who can be that? There's one being who is the supreme. You can call him the creator, you can call him Bhagwan, Allah, we can call him Jehovah, whatever name we like to give to the supreme. But there's one being that I know, I'm sure of, is abundant, ever-flowing. We call the ocean of love and peace and happiness. The one who's the bestower of happiness and the remover of sorrow. That's why whenever we have a problem, we have pain, we go to him. But that's not a good thing to do, right? Imagine you have a great friend, but he'll come to you only when he has a problem. No problem, forget it. I don't want to. Who are you? I don't know who you are, right? You say, well, we are friends, remember? Okay, wait, I have something. When I'm in need, then I know the friend indeed. So I come to you that time. So you say, wow, okay, you're a friend, of course, but you're a friend who's quite an opportunist. So the Supreme will not mind that also, honestly speaking. For him, it's okay, you come whenever you want, I'm not forcing you. But I think we need to be a little bit more aware of how we do certain things. So it's nice for us to try and understand, what is my connection with the Supreme? And what is my relationship with the Supreme? These two are very important things. If I have to connect, or if I have to speak to somebody, if I have to get in touch with somebody, then there has to be some connection in terms of maybe a phone, right? There has to be connection. There has to be that maintained if I have to have that relationship with somebody, right? And usually I have that relationship, and so I have a connection as well. So there are two things that go hand in hand. There is a relationship and there's a connection. So we have various relationships with the Supreme. A lot of relationships in Supreme. And so we got to check with ourselves, what is that relationship that I have with the Supreme, that I enjoy, that is really great, that is really beautiful. It's a nice relationship to keep. Well, I remember 20 years back, I was first introduced to meditation, to Raj Yoga. And I had a lot of issues going on in this at work, and this was in Dubai. And so there was a very big project that I was involved with. And something happened where I was supposed to stuff some containers and have that exported to Africa, and they had to be stamped and sealed and all that stuff. And so all that happened, and then later on I realized that all the packaging that I did in terms of packaging list was actually incorrect in terms of the quantities. And so it's already packed and sealed and stamped by the quality authorities, and so they cannot come back and open it. If they do it, it's a huge amount of cost and time waste if they come back and re-look at everything that they've packed and sealed and almost shipped out. So I realized this problem that was there, and I could see how I was getting so tense and so worried that evening, that now because we finished work, that's when I realized this. Next morning, I have no idea what's going to happen. How's my boss going to react? Will I call these people from the quality department? Will they come back and re-look at the whole thing? So I had all these thoughts going, very, very tense, very worried. That's beautiful. So I was just continue that story. I was very tense at that particular point in time in the evening, not knowing what's going to happen the next day. And I remember going to the meditation space there, and I sat in that meditation room, and all that was there was a light, because when I learned meditation there in Raj Yoga, I realized and understood that the Supreme Soul is considered to be a being of light, an energy. Whilst we could have various other souls that could have a physical body that could be very different levels of existence. But the Supreme Soul was supreme, and because he's the Supreme, there's nobody higher than the Supreme. The Supreme Soul is a being of energy, a light. And so I was sitting in front of this light, and I was just having a relationship connected with that Supreme Soul as my parent. And I remember when I was just sitting there, probably in about 2 or 3 minutes, I just felt engulfed in love for this person who I felt was telling me, I am with you, why are you worrying? I'll take care of everything. I'm your parent after all. So just be with me, everything will be okay. And I remember that brilliant feeling that I had, and how instantly it was like something big on my shoulder just went off the back, and I felt so light and so refreshed and so brilliantly charged, and I feel very strong at that time. And it was so great. I remember going back after that, no problems in my head, because I just had this very strong feeling, but also this very deep sense that I am having somebody with me, so I don't have to worry. And so I went back next day, and I remember calling this first thing that I did. As soon as it struck 8:30 when they opened their office, I called them up. I said, listen, there's a packaging error. I have made a blunder in terms of the quantities and in terms of the measurements of what we packed in those containers, and I want to make a change. So what's the possibility that you'll come back and do some change, or we have to restuff it and open it for you before you ship it out? And I was shocked. The man on the other side said, well, Mr. Chugani, you don't have to worry. Send us the revised packaging list. We'll have a look at it. We'll stamp the new one. We'll scrap the old one, and then we'll let you have it this way. Although we don't do that, but we'll do that as a special case for you. I don't know why they did that. Maybe they heard something or felt something from my voice that they just picked up, and they thought I was being sincere, honest, generous, but still I was not lying. Something would have been there. I'm not suggesting that the Supreme came and did something at that point in time. But what I'm trying to say is that there was something that took place that changed, and everything was perfectly fine. So it was so great for me from that day onwards, how important it was for me to stay charged, to be full before I actually walk into the office. And a very important aspect of life was to first charge myself and then walk into the workplace. Now, it's not necessary that always your problems will be solved in that manner, but certainly at least you know that you're not going to worry about it. Now, if I had come to that place, and if this problem was where, okay, we'll have to change everything, or it's possible, it's not possible, whatever the result was, would have been immaterial to the way I was feeling through the whole evening and night and then in the morning. But I would have been a far better person if I would be able to stay more relaxed, stronger, and come back with that sense of, let's say, a conviction that I'm right and I would like you to do this for me because it's the right thing, I'm not lying to you. But when I come with that attitude, I think there will be far more people who will do what I want them to do than if I was to go in a very worried, nervous state. And so for me, I then started relating to the Supreme as a parent, and I would always have that connection before I start the day. And I know that when I sit down and I can, emerge this light in front of me, and I'm able to connect with that being of pure love, I feel full of love, absolutely taken care of, completely in that protection. And wherever I am, if I can just 1 second, it takes me just to anchor myself, just me, boom, to that light, and I'm sorted. Of course, I've been practicing that for some time before I can get the space where it takes you very less time, but it's an ongoing, every time practice that supports me in my effort to be able to connect and to recharge. So a relationship is very important. So we need to have a relationship, we need to have a connection. Can this go that side? Okay, sorry. So, relationship to the Supreme. What is my relationship to the Supreme? So, earlier, before I did meditation and learned about relationships and about the Supreme, what he does, what he doesn't do, I still used to connect with him. But as I said before, whenever I had something that I wanted, so we have a driving test there. Very difficult to pass the driving test there. So when I have to go for the driving test, that was the time I would definitely go to the temple and I'll spend extra time there. Because I had a driving test, so my relationship was what? It was conditional. So I would do that only when I wanted something. Other times I would remember the Supreme. Okay. Other times I remember the Supreme when I would probably have, okay, so one is a test, so I needed something there. Other times I would do it because of, there was some commercial purpose connected to that. So I have, obviously before I went from here to that place, I would go to the temples and I would worship, and then I would have a deal, well said, deal. I would actually have, I did that. I mean, I did the deal with God and said, you know what, now for whatever I get, I'm going to give you a percentage, so give me a lot. So I'll give you a good percentage. If you want a lot, you give me a lot. And so, can we please get into that partnership? And when I think of it, I'm just looking at myself and saying, well, of course I did that out of innocence, and I know that there is bhavana, as we say, there's bhavana in everything. And you certainly have got the return for those bhavana that you have, and there is always a return for the feeling that you have. So when you go with the purity, I'm sure there is a return. But when I look at it today and I understand the Supreme to be my parent, right? So if I'm going to go to my father or to my mother and say, listen, I need your blessings, I want to become very rich, make me rich, and I promise I'll give you this percentage. Will that parent give me extra blessings because of that? The parent will say, come on, you mean you got my blessings, just go ahead. Whether you give me even 0, you give me 100, you give me everything immaterial, you got my blessings, go ahead. So then I realized, okay, so I don't think it's a good thing to have deals with God in that way. And I remember sometimes I would go to him when I had fear. I'd be scared in the morning if I don't do this, if I don't sit with him for at least 5 to 10 minutes, something wrong will happen. I'll get punished. It will be, inappropriate for me. And so there was a lot of fear which then would drive me to having that connection or relationship. And I realized that no, fear is not the best thing to do. It's, again, going back to this relationship. If you had a relationship, then if I'm going to connect with that person only because of fear, I'm talking to you on the phone today because I'm scared if I don't, then you will not like me anymore. Or I want to come and meet you because I'm scared if I don't meet you, then you'll have something wrong for me. So if I'm actually having relationships based on fear with people, would you really value that relationship? Would you really look up to that relationship? Will you look forward? Now look at some of relationships you might have fear in this world. You might be having certain relationships where there is fear. How comfortable are you with those relationships? How happy are you in those relationships? How many times do you want to, by yourself, connect with those people in that relationship? So if you look at the qualities of the Supreme, I don't think there's any necessity for us to be afraid, actually. Now, he's the bestower of happiness and the remover of sorrow. We go to him when we have problems. Why? Because he removes problems. He's not a problem maker. He's not a person who's going to do those things to us. So he removes those and he's bestowing happiness. That's why we call him Sukh Karta and Dukh Harta, the one who takes it off. He's the person who's the ocean of love. He said, "Tu pyar ka sagar hai." We have those beautiful lines. So if he's the ocean of love, well, the ocean. I mean, a human being today, when they see somebody who is, if I was a human being and I had compassion in my heart, and all of us do, if I see somebody who's not doing well, or if I see somebody who's being hurt, I'm automatically compassionate. As a human, I want to do some things. All right? Imagine the Supreme who is the ocean. He's the ocean of love. He's not just a compassionate soul, but he is the ocean. And so if he's the ocean of love, should I have any fear of him? Or should I actually connect with him in love? Because when there's a relationship based on fear, there is some sort of negativity in it. But if there's a relationship based out of love, then there's a lot of positivity. There's a draw towards that relationship. There's a lot of growth in that relationship. So then I started seeing, okay, fine. When I want to go and sit with the Supreme, it should not be out of fear, but it should be purely out of love. I love this person, so I want to be with that person. And because I love my parent, I love my teacher, I love my guru, so I want to sit with this being. So the other one of the reasons I used to go and I would sit with the Supreme was just ritualistic. My parents have told me that, Prakash, this is what you should do before you go to work. My mothers told me, my uncle told me, my aunt said, this is what you should do in the morning. And so that was a ritual. I would come, I'll fulfill the ritual. Where is my mind but? I'm doing the rituals, but my mind is, what have I left on the gas? Or, I got this in my office to do. I better get myself to finish that work off today. So I'm doing all the tick boxes in my mind whilst I'm doing the ritual in my hand. Well, physically, I'm available there, but the mind is elsewhere. And so that is also not such a fair relationship that you have with somebody. You imagine you're sitting with somebody with you. You're available physically, but your mind is? If you're not there, they say, hello, excuse me. You here? Are you here? You say, of course I'm here. No, but come on, are you here mentally? Are you available right now? You say, yes, I am. And so it's important for us to have the mind engrossed in this relationship with the Supreme. And that's what is yoga actually. Because yoga means what? Yoga means to connect. Viyoga is disconnect. And so if you're connected, it means your mind is connected with the Supreme. Your mind is there with the Supreme Being. So if the Supreme Being is an ocean of love, you're connected to love. If you're connected, so the Supreme is considered to be Sat, the truth one. Always truth. So if you're connected to the truth, what are you going to feel? You feel the truth inside. If the Supreme is the ocean of bliss, and you're connected to that bliss, You are in a state of bliss. So when you're connecting with anybody, you normally take on those qualities of the person you're connected with. So try and understand who your friends are now, the people who you keep connecting with every single day. And slowly but steadily and surely you'll see that you're also starting to become like them. It's good news if you have company with the right people, right? Khalil Gibran said, show me your friends, I'll tell you who you are. And so this connection is very important. And not just physically, mentally, right? When you're connected mentally. So you might have these friends who can be somewhere else, but your mind is always drawn to them, and then you start becoming slowly like them. You're connecting with their qualities, with the way they do things, with the way they behave, and then you also start, because you're always connected with them, you're also embodying those qualities. Now, as inner leaders, you want to have the highest state of behavior. And so the best person to connect with, whilst you can connect with others, but the best place to connect with is with one who has everything at the highest level at all times. All these energies there. Because you need all those energies when you go out. So if you need strength, you need Sarva Shaktivan, right, we say? All the powers. All the time. It's not sometimes, or little power sometimes, more power sometimes. No, all power at all time. And so it's just such a beautiful thing. So you have that hard power there, so that's strong stuff, but also you have love. So you imagine the combination of these two. There's this guy whose name is Jim Collins, who wrote a book called Good to Great. It's a book for leaders, a leadership book. Somebody's read that? Good to Great? It's an interesting book. And so in that, he speaks about the best leaders are called level 5 leaders. He calls them level 5 leaders. And so he says in the world you got a lot of level 1, 2, 3, 4 level leaders, are good at doing the work, and they are good managers, they are productive, they develop people. That's all good stuff. But there are very few who are level 5 leadership. And he mentioned 2 qualities they need to have if they have to be level 5 leaders. Humility and strong will. Can you imagine? The 2 combinations that if you were able to sit in the morning, connect with this being here, almighty authority, absolute strength and will, that's what you get from there. And then the humility from that love, that compassion that he gives you, and he draws and fills yourself. And when you come in front of everybody, you know who you are now, and you're humble, but you're very strong. And so when you connect with him, you're connecting with the Supreme. Obviously there is humility, because then you realize that whatever I am, I owe it to this person, because I'm getting it from him, right? What's my source? If this is my source, and if I give it to you, you come and say, thank you, Prakash, for what you gave me. I'll say, you're most welcome. But inside I know that, you know what? I got it from there. So that's humility. What is humility? Humility is knowing that, what is ego? It's all me, myself and I. Hey, you didn't tell me anything? You got all this from me. Hey, but did you really have this stuff? Where did you get it from? I got it from some source. And so when you forget the source, you get into ego. If you remember the source, you're humble. And so every morning when you're having that source that you're connecting with, you're coming and you're doing what you're doing, you're humble, right? Because you know the source is where you're getting it from. So we want to see that relationship. So like me, it should not be based on all those aspects of fear, ritual, commercial deals that I do, or based on only wants. I need something, I go there. I don't need anything, I'm all right. And so what should it be based on? The relationship?
Most of the relations made out of fear. Like maybe relation with the manager.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have relation with the manager because of fear.
Yes.
Like him also, will be having relationship with him because he's a manager.
Yes.
He may affect our job or anything. So these kind of relationships we have in the corporate world.
Yeah.
So what we have to do, we have to break that relationship, or we have what we can do to make it better.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to suggest with we could have relationships in the corporate world based on fear, based on love. Excuse me. So there could be different reasons why we have those relationships. It could be based on need. It could be just customary. I have those relationships. My question is, do I, and yeah, that's a good question. We'll see how do I actually shift that relationship. But right now, to getting to the subject, do I have this similar relationship with God? How is my relationship with God now? Is that also based out of fear? Now, when you have a relationship with the boss as based out of fear, yourself are asking this question, should I break that relationship? Which proves that a relationship out of fear is not a good relationship. And so can you imagine how is it if I'm going to have the relation with God based out of fear? So I'm going to be afraid every time. At least with the boss, the good news is you leave him at 5 p.m. and you go home. Right? And then if you have this relationship based out of fear out of God, what do you do then? Well, then you could break it and then we can start, moving away from God. And that's why many people go away from the Supreme. Because we don't understand the Supreme as well as we should, which is why we then draw away from the Supreme. And then we become agnostics, we become atheists. And so that's not a very fair thing if we know that somebody who's so much of love, who's got all that power, who's got all that love, is available every single moment for me. Yeah, I could wait for a bell, ting, and then I could feel good and I can go and continue my work. Or I can do that more often, and I can do that in the morning, and so I can connect with this person. I have a connection, a very good connection. I develop that connection with the Supreme. Yeah. So it's about your connection with the Supreme. Is that based out of fear? So no, it should not be based out of fear. It should be based out of love, because the Supreme Soul is a being of love. Remember that. That's one of his highest qualities. It's a being of love. Second one, the Supreme Soul is the truth. He's the being of truth. And so that's one very important reason why we're also there with him. And the other one, love, truth, and justice. The Supreme Soul is impartial. He's always got justice there. He's always forever just. And so for us also, we understand that, see, one of the other good reasons why it's good to understand the Supreme in a better way, we remove all those other thoughts that we've had so far, that we harbored in us. Because when we are able to do this, when we have the connection with this, yoga, we draw this in our lives, and then in our own practices with our people, we actually bring this into expression. I too, in my relationships, then, if I realize the Supreme is being of love, always giving me, and whenever I connect, I get from him. When I come in a relationship with people, I also start doing the same. Yeah, that's what I've learned. Truth, the being of truth, is always who he is. He is not false. He doesn't want to project a different image of who he is. He is who he is. He's the truth. So can I also be the person without trying to create false images about me? I am also truth. I am a being of love. I am a being of love. I am a being of truth. There are so many other things which are false. The body, the other possessions and the properties and the, positions that I have, that is false. So if I understand the truth, I will stay with the truth. And also be doing justice. I will have the power, I'll have the strength, and I'll be able to do justice when I have to do justice to myself and to others around me. I will not look at things which are, injustice to another. So I'll never do something which is incorrect to people. So then the question is, then, everything that is happening around, because that's another question which usually come up, and we'll obviously cover this in the chapters as we go forward, but that's an important part. The question which will come up is, if God is doing all the good things in the world, who's doing the bad things? If he's the one who's giver of happiness, why do we have pain and sorrow? If he's the one who does justice, why is it that some people are born here, some people are born there? So then where is that equation going wrong? And so, good. So we have the answers again. The law of karma. And so we got to understand karma in a very deeper fashion, because it's not as simple as we might think. Sometimes law of karma, you may think that I'm going through certain pain right now in my life because I did something wrong in the past, and so I'm experiencing pain right now. That could be the case, but there could be one more scenario. I could be undergoing some pain in my life today, just so that I can become stronger, so I can face something more tougher tomorrow. So all that kind of pain that's coming to my life is just strengthening me for something better to come tomorrow. I remember doing this exercise in 2018. We look back 2018, somewhere in Jan 2019. So let's look back to 2019 and try and reflect how the year was for 2019 for us. And so many times we said, the 2018 was a very full of obstacles. I had this problem, I had that problem, I had health issue, I had financial issue, I had this issue, I had that issue. So we were seeing all those issues that we actually had in the year 2019. And then, so this is one of the sisters who was doing this for us, Sister Gopi. So she said, okay, now, you saw all those problems that you had in 2018. Tell me, what did you have underneath those problems? At the surface, you had a financial problem. But what was happening underneath that? Well, I was learning how to be more frugal. I was learning how to be more simple in life. I was learning how I could become more creative in the ways I would express myself. I started becoming more active. I became more alert. Okay, you had those health issues. What did that make you do? Well, it made me start choosing better things in life, making me do this. It started bringing more patience in my life. It started bringing more resilience in my life. It started making me more humble. Says, wow. So everything that you actually had, which you thought were tough times, actually made you tough. There were a lot of beautiful things you learned through that process. So was it worth it? Yes. Of course it was. Amazing. It was really worth it. And so it's nice for us to understand that karma is important when we talk about the Supreme, because there are certain things the Supreme doesn't do that is a universal law that's applicable to everybody. And it's quite complex. It's very complicated. It's very difficult for us to say, I did this, and so this is what I'm getting for that. Or I'm doing this right now, so this is what I will get. It's very difficult to do the maths in that accurate fashion. There are lots of things connected with so many other aspects. And so when you do the Raj Yoga course, which I'm sure you will do if you have not done them already, because that's where you learn a lot about this connection. Okay, just a testing. Are you all connected with me? Yes. You're in yoga right now with me, I hope. Yes. Because it's possible that as I'm speaking to you, your yoga will be connected with something outside the room also, right? You might be in great yoga, but with something else. How do I find that out? How do I find that out? Okay, let's see. Okay, let me ask you to do this. So as you sit down, I want you to do as I say. Do as I say. At the back, you got me? Do as I say. All right. So as you're sitting down on the chairs, enjoying yourself, relaxed, I just want you to free your right hand. Free your right hand. Just free the right hand up. Let your right hand be free. I would like you to raise the right hand. Slowly move your right hand upwards to the roof. Slowly move your right hand to the roof, the ceiling up there. Okay, and bring it back down to the same position as it was before. Okay, for the second time, I want you to raise your right hand up towards the roof. And slowly now, bring it towards your face. Slowly, don't hit yourself. Slowly. And touch your chin and keep it there. All right, so, can you see each other? Have a look at each other. Everybody, just see each other. See each other. What are they touching? I said touch your chin. I said about dimple cheeks, right? What dimple chin. So we've learned this, and we keep teaching our kids, right? Cheek versus chin. And for some of us who did it well, well done. For some of us who didn't do it well, well done again. Don't worry, don't be guilty, it's fine. Connection problem. I thought you were connected.
No, I connected.
He was like in between, a little confused. Should I or should I not, you know? Yeah. Actually, yeah, it's my fault, actually. I tried to cheat you. I tricked you into it. And so yes, so it's important to check my connection. So I was very clear about doing as I say. But we do as we do. That's just fair enough, because that's the body language, right? That's what people don't do what you say. They do what you do, and they do who you are. And so many times, and I've heard many people come to me and say, Prakash, I think all you're saying is okay, it's good stuff, but in the practical world, I say, sorry, what do you mean the practical world? So I mean the practical world, this is, I said, what, is this some sort of a false, impractical world or something? No, but those ideologies, ideologies. Great things, but they don't apply. Yeah? They don't apply here. Well, I think we have to try. We have to do it, and it's possible. It's very, very possible. It's just that I'm the one who keeps saying, no, it will not work, it may not happen this way, it will not happen that way. I feel I have to give myself that gift of saying, okay, lovely, I'm going to be great today. I'm going to really draw from a magnificence, and I'm going to really see how I can make a difference to people. Believe me, the first person who's going to be really enlightened and empowered is yourself. And then you try to make a difference to other people, and then you see that's no change is happening. I've done that for so many months, it's not changing, Prakash, so I'm going back to square one. And so, well, it's okay, you're the only one who's going to lose, nobody else. But many times what we try to do is we try to tell people, you have to be more peaceful. It's so important. You have to go and learn Raj Yoga. You need to more peace in your life. You need to be a little bit more, realize that, you are strong and powerful, and we want you to be powerful. You have to be this. And we keep telling them what they should be, whereas we forget that, they're probably just watching me. And they're trying to understand, how do I solve problems? When there's a small situation outside, am I really peaceful myself? And so they are watching us. The people who are connected to us, who we feel can improve, they are watching and observing every move of ours. So I'll speak to you about a good friend of mine, Ayub Khan. He's a health and safety officer in the previous company I worked for. And so I would eat vegetarian food. I'm eating vegetarian food at table, so Ayub Khan will bring his mutton biryani and have in front of me. He says, Prakash, no meat? I said, no, I'm vegetarian. He'll laugh at me. Well, so he'll ridicule me a little bit, and he'll say, a good friend, yeah? So, he's obviously in good spirit. He'll say, you'll do this world a favor if you become a non-vegetarian. Because there are so many animals out there, you should eat them. So, otherwise the population is going to be too much. And they're eating up all the greenery there. So you should start having non-vegetarian. So he would do that to me, and he would, ridicule me. I'll say, well, I don't want to debate. Sometimes the truth doesn't have to be justified, right? People somehow sense it. So you could go back and tell him about how we are constructed, how my jaw is constructed, how my intestine is constructed, how we are meant to be plant eaters, not animal eaters, all those things with the structure of our teeth. But no need. I said, okay, Ayub, no problem, I'm happy this way. And if you're that way, you're happy, perfectly fine for you. And so he's a health and safety officer. So he had arranged a health camp. Yeah, all these organizations do the wellness stuff now. So we went for the health camp. I'm going for my checkup, right? So he's standing with the doctor in that table, making sure that everybody does it. So when I approached, and they're starting with my blood test and this test, he tells the doctor in front of me, Doc, if at all there's something wrong in the test with this person, if he has any problem, that means your equipment has an issue. Now I was trying to say, wow, for Ayub to give me all that gyan of why I should not eat vegetarian, deep inside believes that what I'm doing is right and healthy, and it's a better option. He felt that, and he's telling that to a doctor, but he never told that to me face to face. So how we sometimes do not see the change outside, and we start believing that it's not happening. But people observe you. They watch your actions. They're seeing your behavior. And believe me, you are influencing them. They are being influenced. They may say it to you, they may not, but they are being influenced in a very deep level, and maybe subtly as well, but they don't have to tell it to you. But when it's time, they would just change, and they would just be who you want them to be. Yeah, so we have to be a little bit patient with them. So yeah, law of karma is important. The supreme soul, being of love, truth, and justice. And so it's important for us to also start adopting these great qualities. Yeah? Because when you start connecting with greatness, you will start becoming great, and you start doing great. And so when you're doing great, you're appreciating people. So I did see a lot of you appreciating each other. Yeah, you all had all those beautiful Beads to share. Yeah, did everyone do a good job with the beads? Not yet. You still have a few left? Lots left? So you want to give it to yourself? That's not a bad idea. I want to take it back with me home. Back home. So, yeah, you have so many wonderful things happening around, so many great people. Do use them. We also have the Virtue Hub, or we call it the Power Hub. If we go outside, there's this place which is called, the meditation room there. Have you been there? Some of you have been there? Everybody's been there? Have you seen something that is there on the corridor? You got those lovely 8 powers. Those are 8 powers that you receive when you connect yourself to the Supreme. When I connect myself to the Supreme, I'll just give you 3. I'll give you 2 very important powers. For the rest, you have to go there. Sit there, connect with the Supreme, and then you will automatically get those powers. One power, very important power, is the power to face. The power to face. Life is like this, right? They speak about in medical as well, when you're checking your pulse rate and they want to know whether you're alive or not, your pulse rate better go like this, you're alive. If it's like this, guy's gone, dead. Khalas, over. So it has to be like this, correct? So life is like this, be happy, I'm alive, okay? So then, but you need some power. If it's going to be like this, inside I can't be like that. Here, otherwise there's gone. I mean, you'll burn out in a few days. So you need something to keep you stable. Inside you can be this, right? Outside. So if that's the case, there is something called the power to face. Yeah, so the power that I drew when I had that problem in my case, when I connected with the Supreme, instantly I felt that power. That I've got this one who's the most powerful with me. There's nothing for me to fear. Anything I can face. They say that there is no problem without any solution. So and also, any problem that comes to you will never come to you if you didn't have a solution to that problem. So depending on the people, they will get that type of problem. You will get problems that you can suitably tackle. You can never get a problem that you cannot tackle. Impossible. Whether it's a human problem, it's a financial problem, it's a physical problem, all problems can be tackled. All right? So, power to face. So we want to go there and sit there and understand that. All right? And then one more power, the power to discern. The power to know what is right from wrong. Because lots of times we have this thing about what is correct, what is not right. And so when you're connecting with the Supreme, you're connecting with the truth. When you connect with the truth, you'll have no doubt about what is the right thing to do and what is wrong. What is the best option here? So you have a lot of situations that come every day in our lives, right? IT professionals and any profession for that matter. Every moment we have situations in front of us. And we are normally meant to find the best way to move forward. So we just pause, go inside, connect, and come back, and we can solve the problem. Now you might say, is the Supreme an IT professional also? How did he have those solutions to the problems that you're going to solve after connecting with him? Well, you have the solutions, but the moment you connect with him, you become so strong, so confident, so collected, so calm and peaceful, and so right that you can come back, and with that clarity you can solve those problems. Remember, when your mind is clear, it can make the best decisions. When your mind is in chaos, you make the worst decisions at that point in time. Out of some emotion in the mind, which is why a lot of organizations are now trying to look at emotional intelligence and the importance of it in team and in leadership, how important it is to be emotionally intelligent. The best way to be emotionally intelligent is to become spiritually intelligent. Because if you're spiritually intelligent, if you learn the act of going in, connecting with the self as a being of love, peace and happiness to the core values, and knowing that you are different and separate from this body and everything else around you, that's the first part. And then second, if you can connect with the Supreme, who's the Almighty, ocean of love, then your emotions, you see over a period of time, you will start having positive emotions. All those negative emotions that used to trouble you will slowly fade away. Slowly. I still have those negative emotions in me, but I know that there's a big shift from where it was when I started off to where it is right now, right? There's your buttons reduce, especially for people who are getting angry very quickly. Yeah, because I saw somebody while I was doing the icebreaker yesterday, So I want to be free from anger. So the button of anger, earlier anybody says any small thing to me about my physical appearance or about my position, my title, something about anything, the moment they say something, poof, I would flare up. How dare you say something like that? I'll prove you wrong. This is how I did it. This is why I did this. So I'll start defending myself, proving myself, all those things. But as I start moving and understanding that, hey, that's not me, that's my role. I'm somebody else. And so when I start understanding that shift and I start connecting with the Supreme, who's the ocean of love, then now some people tell me those same things, I don't get triggered off as I did before. They might have to do it maybe time and again and maybe a much bigger quantity for them to really get me upset. So it's interesting to see how this connection helps you. So yeah, so please give those beads and appreciate more people. Go to that power hub. I've given you 2, you got 6 more to explore. So when you connect with the Supreme, you will get those powers. But you should know those powers, because the more you're aware of it, you're able to access it in a better way. And they are brilliant powers. If you have those 8 powers, you are just like the Supreme. You are the Master Almighty. Isn't that beautiful? Of course, you've got to work at it and focus on it and connect with the Supreme more to be able to have the full embodiment of those. But once you have the embodiment of all those, you are Master Almighty. Okay, so that's one thing. Secondly, we got something called the King of Virtues. All of you have experienced other people, right? You have had a great number of people who've displayed qualities of peace, of love, of compassion, of honesty, purity, happiness. You've seen very happy people. Have you seen those things today and yesterday? With everybody, haven't you? All right, so if you just turn around and have a look at that image right at the back of you, can you see that man with the tie and the black tie? Behind him, you have that crown. So he's the emperor with that crown. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one part of it is the 6th part, which is actually holding all the 5. So there's 6 parts to that particular crown. And each part represents one quality. It could be peace, it could be love, it could be happiness. What you need to do is you need to go to that place, and you've got a lot of these dots, which are colored dots. Each color represents a quality. What we want you to do, if you've noticed any quality in people around you, okay, I've noticed love. Okay, so I take this green dot and I place it there. Okay, I've noticed this particular quality. So you see that quality there. If you've noticed in anybody, you just take it up. You don't have to tell the other person. That's where you have the beads which you can use. But you take this up and place it on the crown, depending on which quality is on which part of the crown, and just keep placing it there. So we like to see by the end of tomorrow, that's in the afternoon, which were those qualities that we saw most in us, in this group. Okay, as a demo, let's just do, whilst we're going out, we can do that, right? Because we don't want it to be crowded too much. We can do one part right now, and then the others can come and do the rest later on. Yeah, you'll want to do, so let's take this part. Yeah, maybe the last row. Can you just, the people sitting right in the front there, can you all just go and start seeing if you can do that there? Yeah, all of you there, in that one row. Just go back and see it, and look at some qualities there. Think about the people you saw and met here, and would you like to take some of those dots and place them? So we can just watch what they do, and then we can start following them from now onwards. Just see what you can, see some qualities written on this crown. And if you saw one of those qualities, pick the appropriate colored dot and place the dot on the crown that matches that color. The more goodness you see in others. Oh, wow. The more goodness you see in others, what happens to you? The more you get connected to the Supreme, the more goodness comes into you. You spot something in somebody else, you appreciate that person. Appreciating is important. The things that get appreciated get repeated. You appreciate somebody about something, they will start doing that more often for you. But don't manipulate, be sincere. So I want you to do this to me every day, so I'll simply come and tell you that. You know, I love the way you smile. A guy never smiles in the world, right? I love your smile. So be sincere with the person. Be sincere, be honest when you appreciate people. Look at what they are and let them know that this is who you are. You could come and appreciate the person's, I like your maturity. You seem to be a very mature person. He probably will appreciate that more than like your smile if he doesn't smile, right? So appreciate sincerely, appreciate from the heart, but keep appreciating, keep appreciating. That's one of the best ways to gain absolutely as many qualities as you want in life. More qualities you want, more appreciation you do. More defects you want, which you don't, but keep looking at defects in everybody. That works on the reverse as well. I mean, if the positive side works, the reverse also has to work, right? The more negative you see in people, the more negativity grows in you. You start allowing yourself to be that also. So spot the diamonds in everybody. Spot those beauties that you see in people. And when you start doing that, you will start seeing that it's growing inside you in amazing fashion. Okay? Great. And then we have the virtue wheel. There's a virtue wheel here. There's an interesting virtue wheel here. And it's got some good qualities on this as well. You know, so you can come and spin this anytime you want. If you, let's say it could be you have a question that you want to get solved, you have a situation that you want to be resolved, or you just want to say, okay, I want to take a quality right now. I want a certain feeling to, what feeling should I hold right now in my heart? Just come and spin this wheel and then see where it stops. So wherever it stops, responsibility. Okay, so now I'm going to be responsible. All right, so what does that mean to me if I'm going to be responsible right now? Okay, so I'm going to be responsible to ensure that I'm connected and I'm full. That's first responsibility, right? Before, sometimes I think of responsibility, I think of responsibility towards others and I have to do this for them. No, responsibility. So when you see that word, churn a little bit. What does that mean to me? And so then, okay, now what do I do with that quality? So first, responsibility, I need to stay connected, I need to be full, I need to move forward. And then if you do that, you're going to be fantastic. So you have a lot of tools to your disposal to be continuing to stay magnificent like you are, right? You just have to use them. And you use them through the 2-3 days that we are here. 2-3 days, is it? Probably another day, right? So for the time that we are here, please do this. Go down to the hub, go back to that particular wonderful emperor and keep giving him those qualities that you saw in people. So it's tuning yourself to become full of qualities by the time you leave this place. And believe me, it will stick. It will stick. When your mind expands with an idea, you'll never forget it. You say, if I give you 1 rupee, you give me 1 rupee. I have 1 rupee, I give you 1 rupee. You have 1 rupee, you give me 1 rupee. Now how much do you have and how much do I have? 1 rupee, right? I have 1 idea, you have 1 idea. I give you 1 idea, you give me 1 idea. Now how many ideas you have, how many ideas I have? 2, both. Wow. So ideas will stay and will grow. You just have to keep taking care of them, and that's possible. But this place is where you keep getting your practice to that, just expand yourself as much as you can. So do the power hub by the meditation place. Do that crown. Use your gems and jewels and the beads that you have in your pocket, and enjoy yourself. Also with the virtue wheel. It's like the wheel of fortune there. Okay, so come back to the Supreme. Any questions on the Supreme? If you have no questions, then I'll have a few questions. Any questions around the Supreme? No? Relationships. What relationships do we have with the Supreme Being? I used one, which is parent. Any other relationships that we have with the Supreme? The friend. Yeah, it's a great relationship to have as a friend. What else?
Unconditional.
Sorry, unconditional. Okay, unconditional is... Okay, we have to have unconditional what? We must have unconditional love with the Supreme. Good. We must trust the Supreme. There must be that trust. Very, very important, right? The trust. I mean, many a times there is a small lack of that trust and that faith. A good story about this guy who was dangling from a very high place. So he fell off a cliff while he was doing some trekking on this mountain, and so he just fell off the cliff, and and lucky for him, his legs were tied to the ropes, right? So he just and it was dark, so he just fell down. But because his legs were tied to the rope, he was now hanging in the air. And it was really cold because he was doing this in some snowy place, really freezing, getting very cold. So he's hanging, and he's asking God to help him. God, can you please help me? I'm dangling over here. I want to be rescued. And I want to really, if I fall, of course, I'm dead. Thank God for this rope. Or thank you, God, for the rope. I'm still alive. But now, come on, send somebody to help me out. I'm still stuck over here. I don't know where I am. And so he keeps getting this intuition, cut the rope. He says, come on, God, can you please help me? Cut the rope. Please help me. I want to be rescued by somebody. I mean, the rope is only saving me. What do you mean, cut the rope? Cut the rope. But he doesn't cut the rope. And then he freezes to death. In the morning, you have a lot of people who are in that area, obviously, because sound had gone, somebody had to rescuers come. And so they reached the space where this guy was hanging. He was just few inches above the ground. He obviously, it was dark, he couldn't see, but he was just a few inches off the ground. And if he had cut the rope, he would have just gone, and he probably moved off from there. But the trust problem, no? Cut the rope. So I feel it's important for us to understand the Supreme Being as the being who is. So when I say trust the Supreme, it's very important for us to trust Him as the being who has these qualities of love, peace, happiness, power. He is got all that. And trust the fact that He's there to give them to you unconditionally, not to keep them for Himself. And He's not doing that with any conditions. He just wants to give it to you. All you got to do is just forge a connection. My dad is the richest man in the world. He has all the power, all the influence, but I'm never connected with him. He's elsewhere, I'm here, I don't talk to him. So what's the point? Unless I'm connected with him, I don't get everything, right? I don't get an inheritance unless there's a connection. So I have to connect with him. And that's the reason that we talk about the importance of connection. So we have to stay connected. And if you can stay connected, okay, that's the power hub that we would like to be into. All right. And so this big question you want to ask yourself before you leave your office is, have you filled your cup today? If you've done this connection, and if you filled your cup, then you're sorted. Great. So, friend, parent, anything else?
Gratitude.
So you want to have gratitude, but what is the relationship you like to have with the Supreme? So like the relationship you have in this world, right? With people. I have friends, I have parents. Who else do I have as a relationship I can have with the Supreme? A mentor, a coach, a guide, very good. A teacher, lovely. There are lots of lessons that the Supreme is giving us. A teacher. Anything else? A colleague. Brilliant. You see, it's so nice. If you can actually have these relationships with the Supreme, the soul connects with the Supreme with that particular relationship, and you will definitely have the best experiences of that relationship with the Supreme. And that relationship will feel so fulfilled for you. You feel so nice with that relationship. So in fact, they say that you can have all relationships with the Supreme. The beloved, the spouse, the guru. So one of the things over here you see, we have administrative heads, but we don't have any gurus. Did you notice that? There are no gurus. So who's our guru? Supreme Soul. But we have another person who's this person, which sometimes people have confusions with. Okay, so when we look at the Supreme, for us, that's who we understand the Supreme to be. A being of light. So we understand that there are different categories, right, of souls. So we have, let's say, soul. Just a soul, like all of us, ordinary souls, soul. And then we have some great souls. You know great souls? Mahatmas. People who have done some great acts in this world. We are great souls. And then we have religious souls, Dharamatmas. They've been very pure souls who've been able to come and establish religions because of their purity. So they're very, very pure souls, religious souls. Then we have divine souls, or the deity souls. We call as Devtas, or Devis. All of these, if you notice, would have one thing in common. Okay, souls, very good. What else? What else? They are Jivatmas. Jivatmas means they're living. They have a form, physical form. They all have a physical form. They would have a body. They would all have bodies. Now, we understand the divine souls to have 2 arms and 2 legs, like us. But just to show how powerful they are, artists would show 8 arms and so many other, features, and each of the arms holding some very interesting things, just to show the power of these people. But they're extremely, obviously, powerful and pure. And so they all had a physical body. Now, there's someone over here who's called the Supreme Soul. What's the difference? No physical form. So, soul, great soul, religious soul, the divine or deity soul, and then the Supreme Soul. So all of them have these same qualities. Some of them are able to hold it, able to demonstrate it, some of them in a very limited fashion. And so today we understand that the power of the souls has really depleted a lot, very much. And the great thing is the Supreme Soul, because doesn't have a physical body, doesn't have to come into birth and death and the cycles that we come into, and so that qualities are retained there. We had those qualities at one point in time. It's lost. We kind of depleted. But the Supreme Soul is full and will always stay forever that way. And so when we just connect with the Supreme Soul, then I'm able to connect and draw every bit of that power, that love, and that beauty from the Supreme. Just connect. With what? With the mind. Because the mind can be in so many different places. It can be connected in so many directions. I want this mind to connect on the top. Connect, and then there's a flow. So trust is very important. Trust that the Supreme Soul has got all these beautiful qualities. Trust that when you're sitting down and just remembering Him, you are connecting. Because sometimes you think, no, you need evidence. I need to see that connection. I can't see that connection. Somebody speaks on the phone. Who are you talking to? My dad. How do you trust it's your dad? I'm connected on the phone. Where's the wire? I can't see any connection. No, it is connected. But I can't see. It's okay, but trust. If you don't trust, you don't move forward. So you may not see it, but there is a connection to the mind. Yeah? How many times have you been able to connect with people in the mind and say, hey, you know what? I felt you were remembering me. And I just called you. Yeah, I was. Thanks, man. You just spoke to me. Well done. I was actually remembering you just now. What happened? There is a connection, right? As I said, the soul's power is reducing a little bit, so the connection gets a little bit more, but there is that power to be able to connect through the mind. And so when you connect with the Supreme and trust that things are taking place, it will happen. Yeah, so this is how we understand it. So we have all those relationships. You can take any relationship you want. And remember, if there's any relationship that you're lacking, have it with the Supreme and see how wonderful you feel. If you feel that this is a relationship I'm lacking in my life, make the Supreme Soul that being. And then you'll see how that fulfills it and you feel very comfortable. And as you draw those lovely qualities from Him, you start giving it to everybody else. Okay, so here's one more, like we said. Okay, so this is another image over here. So as we said, we don't have any gurus. But then who's this wonderful person that we have, whose image you might see in the meditation room? And who's Brahma Baba? Okay, so we're not keeping the image over there because we worship it. We understand that Brahma Baba is how his river. He was called Dada Lekhraj earlier, and then we started calling him Brahma Baba as we consider him to be a person who's very much in a human form, very much like each and every one of us, but he's like the father of all of us, and so that's how we've given him the title of Brahma Baba. And we obviously look at him as a person who has got some of the most beautiful qualities for whatever he has done, which is why we are actually sitting here today. And so we respect and we look up to this person in terms of the qualities that he had actually displayed. We follow him when we understand, if we go through his life story and we try and see the qualities, the strength, the wonders of how he was actually been able to establish this particular organization at a time when everything was against him. but still he was able to stay strong, and he was able to move forward, and he was able to see that we are able to be here today connected in that particular way and to bring that particular truth to us. So in that sense, we really revere him, we respect him, but we don't worship him, and we don't call him God, because we know that the Supreme Soul is the one there. Where? You see that light? So that's the one, when we're meditating, we connect with the Supreme Soul. And so Father Brahma is more like the reminder who inspires us to sit in meditation and to connect to the Supreme Soul. Because that's what Brahma would do. He would sit and would connect. Yeah, so there are no gurus. There are no human people that we actually worship in any way. But we respect all of them. We respect the great souls. We respect the deity souls. We understand that they've had all those wonderful powers. We connect with the Supreme Soul because we understand that that is universal, permanent, it's always there, and we can connect anytime. Is that okay?
खुदा से मेरी मुश्किलें बड़ी है, ये मुश्किलों से कह दो मेरा खुदा बड़ा है। आती है यादें या तो कर उनका खैर मकदम, आती है यादें या तो कर उनका खैर मकदम। तूफान से ही तो लड़ने खुदा ने तुझे गढ़ा है। ये मत कहो खुदा से मेरी मुश्किलें बड़ी है, ये मुश्किलों से कह दो मेरा खुदा बड़ा है। मेरा खुदा बड़ा है, मेरा खुदा बड़ा है। Self-doubt aside, अग्नि में तप के सोना है और भी निखरता, अग्नि में तप के सोना है और भी निखरता। दुर्गम को पार करके हिमालय कोई चढ़ाई, लाएगी रंग मेहनत आखिर तुम्हारी एक दिन, लाएगी रंग आखिर तुम्हारी एक दिन। होगा विशाल तरवर वो बीज जो पड़ा है। ये मत कहो खुदा से मेरी मुश्किलें बड़ी है, ये मुश्किलों से कह दो मेरा खुदा बड़ा है। मेरा खुदा बड़ा है, मेरा खुदा। Come on everybody. We just learned about the Supreme, right? Now, with that connection,
have that faith that you'll be able to overcome all the obstacles in your life. Yeah? वो सर्व शक्तियों से जब साथ है हमारे, वो सर्व शक्तियों से जब साथ है हमारे, हर काम उसके रहते हरगिज़ हुआ पड़ा है। कभी हारना ना, हिम्मत का कदम बढ़ाओ, कभी हारना ना, हिम्मत का कदम बढ़ाओ, हजारों कदम बढ़ाने वो सामने खड़ा है। ये मत कहो खुदा से मेरी मुश्किलें बड़ी है, ये मुश्किलों से कह दो, ये मुश्किलों से कह दो, मेरा खुदा बड़ा है, मेरा खुदा बड़ा है, मेरा खुदा बड़ा है। ओम शांति। थैंक यू।